Hi, this is Ted again, and I'm taking a look at exploring data with Databot. So today we're going to work on the second week of Tidy Tuesday, which is the Astronomy Picture of the Day archive. So this is really interesting data set because you can see that that it consists of different images and photographs. So let's take a look at kind of the structure of the data before we proceed. So we've got a column for copyright, the date of the image, and then there is a explanation of the image, media type, title of the image, and then we're going to work with this one and specifically, so the URL of the image or video of the day. So we can take a look at what all of these columns look at like in just a second. So I have this loaded into Positron, and today I'm going to be working with R. 1 second, let me get this a little bigger. Okay, so let's take a look. So we can see that not all of these images have a copyright holder, but we see that they have, as we would expect, they are sorted by date. So we start out with January 1, and then we go up. We can see that there is an explanation column, and a lot of these have a lot of text in them, so we might want to do something with that. We've got media type, and then the title and the URL. There's also this HD URL, but we won't work with this because this is going to get us some very large images. So what I want to do is I'm curious about nebulas and images about nebulas. So we're going to try to filter out the data set to nebulas and try to put together some sort of gallery with them by downloading the images. Okay, so let's get started. So I'm going to open my command palette, and we can do open Databot. And sometimes it does not. Yeah, I got it. Sometimes I have to reboot. 1 second. Okay, we seem to be up and running again, so let's make sure we're using Claude Sonnet. So this time I'm going to experiment with what's called a claude.md file. So this is where you can put kind of extra prompts to kind of help guide Databot. So this one, I'm going to try out this prompt. So you are an expert astronomer who communicates concepts at an accessible level, high school level. You also know R at an expert level and focus on tidyverse syntax. Okay, so let's filter the data set to contain only images of nebulas. So this is actually not going to be a completely easy task, but let's see. Okay, so it needs to take a look at kind of the structure of the data. So we're going to allow it. And it did not. So let's load in. Let's have it fix it. I know it's going to just. So just. So let's just load it in library dplyr for it. So let's try running this again. Okay, let's try this first. So it is going to try to see if it can get nebula using the the title. So it seems to be doing okay with that. So it's going to filter out. I don't know why it is not using tidyverse. I told it to. So read the Claude MD file and use it in your prompt. Okay, so now it's read the Claude MD file, so let's try change the filtering to tidyverse syntax. Okay, so this is what I would expect. So it's going to use string R here, and it's going to use filter from dplyr. So it's going to do a str detect. It's going to look for the word nebula. So let's let that do its thing. Okay, so we have 722 nebula images. So let's try and download these. Images in apod nebulas using the, what is the name of the column? URL column. Place them in an images folder. Okay, so let's see what it came up with. So it's going to create a directory, and then we're going to, well, now we're going to basically check how many images we're going to download, and then what types of URLs we have. Okay, so it's going to filter for the images. And then what it's going to do is let's take a look at it. So it's going to create a file name. And we're going to try this out. Okay, so now it's going to actually download the images. So it's going to use this download file function. So it will basically download it to our images file. So this is probably going to take a while. So I'm going to let it do its thing. So you can see we already have started to download images. Very cool. Okay, so I'm going to pause and wait for this to finish, and I'll come back just a second. Okay, so I got a little impatient, so we basically stopped downloading at about 252 images. So first thing I want to do, let's make a gallery, but let's only do it for the year 2018. So filter the nebula images data set to only contain 2018 images. So as we expect, it's just going to do a filter year date. So we'll do that. And that's a lot more kind of manageable. So let's see if we can make a gallery. Quarto gallery of the 2018 images. Don't know if it's going to be able to do this, but we can try. Okay, it's going to try it out. So I already have okay, so it's going to try to download it. So do the above, but with the downloaded images in the image folder instead of downloading. Okay, so it needs to take a look to make sure that it's downloaded all of the images. So it's going to create a gallery with 43 images. So it's going to try to create a Quarto gallery. Thinking. Okay, so now it's got, now it has created some sort of gallery, so let's close the images. So this, let's try doing a preview. Okay, so it did not like that. So if we look at the error here, it's trying to load an R data file that doesn't exist. Save the 2018 nebula images data into APOD R data, like in the Quarto document. Okay, so hopefully this will fix things. So we'll do that. Okay, so it's going to create the file. Okay, that's not what we want. Okay, so let's try to create the APOD R data file with only 2018 images and to work with the Nebula Gallery 2018 QMD document. Okay, so let's take a look. So it's going to filter to 2018, and then it's going to save it as a data set called APOD. So let's do that. So it's created that. Okay, so it is not smart enough, so we need to do the above with only the nebula images for 2018. So this is one of those things I kind of feel like, you know, the LLM is kind of like a genie. So you have to make sure that you're asking for the right thing. Okay, so that looks, it's just repeating itself. So let's try that out. Okay. Okay, so let's try rendering this finally. Okay, here's a preview, and let's open it up. And now you can see that we have the image gallery. It's pretty cool. It also created a list here and then more image details. So that's it for today. And hopefully that was interesting. So tune in next time. Okay, future Ted here. Just wanted to make a little note about this document that it generated. So you can see that it's saying this report was generated using AI under general human direction, but we haven't, the contents have not been comprehensively reviewed by a human analyst. So it's great so far. Like you can see that there are some mistakes here. So it's clearly trying to do some inline code here, but it failed. But in general, I'm pretty pleased with how the gallery looks. I knew that Quarto is good at generating these galleries, so that's kind of why I use that as my goal. Okay, Ted out.